Hey guys, we are live. Just Incredible's Hardcore House Show, the Thursday edition, the only edition now that we've gone to one night a week. And I'll tell you, man, we got a lot of great things going on. We are now being brought to you by our good friends in Chicago at Ringside Relations. They've been doing a tremendous job in helping the Just Incredible brand, to helping this show. Also, the show is brought to you and produced by my manager Dean Wentworth. Thanks, Dean, for all your work. And let's we're going to change the format a little bit and get right into talking wrestling and topics, and see if you guys prefer how we're going to do things. Well, I found this interesting. I don't know what you guys thought of it or if you've heard of it, but Tyson Tomko got in a good amount of trouble this past week. He got arrested for, I'm not sure I got the story straight, but he apparently strong-armed a pharmacist, pretty much stealing 160 oxycodone pills. I guess he threatened the pharmacist at some point and to give him the pills. I don't know if he had a prescription prior and just somehow demanded a refill or whatever the case may be. But apparently went into a Chili's restaurant, asked for a spoon, proceeded to go into the bathroom, crushed up the pills. I don't know if he crushed them all up to inject them. Which, I'm a recovering drug addict. I know all about that stuff, and that would kill anybody, including myself. So, he's in a lot of trouble right now. And something like that, man, that never shocks me. You'd think something like that would, but unfortunately, we have a big epidemic in America, not only with pro wrestlers and athletes, but unfortunately, I've known some people close to my family, it's a big problem out there. So, anyways, wish him the best of luck. I hope. I think he's still in jail. I don't think he made bail. It's quite high, but I don't know him very well personally. But I hope things work out for him and he gets the help he needs. Another thing that I checked out today, Jeff Hardy apparently completed his 10-day stint in jail. So, good for you, Jeff. I haven't talked to you in a long time. If you're out there, if you're listening or watching, wish you nothing but the best. Still has a 30-day probation hanging over his head, which is no joke. 30 months, I should say, probation, and $100,000 fine. And to tell you what, I don't care how much money you've made or are making or what your situation is. Not a lot of people, even if you're a big superstar, have $100,000 liquid, ready to go out to a fine. So, Jeff, God bless you. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're on the right path, and hope this served as a lesson. Not to be preachy or anything, but also this caught me very, very, very off guard and surprised me, and it obviously surprised a lot of other people. The ratings for last Monday's Raw. And it wasn't so much the high number or the low number, it was the trend in the ratings that I found completely curious. After the big walkout the previous Monday, where everybody, the vote of no confidence on Triple H, it stirred some interest. Raw started off, and traditionally, as they build towards the show, the ratings start slower, and towards the seventh, eighth quarter hour and the final overrun, usually traditionally do the best numbers. And last week, Raw started out with a real strong 3.6 in the first quarter hour. And the second quarter hour, again 3.6. I'm looking at the numbers right here. Then it went down to a 3.5, a 3.2, 3.3, 3.0. Last quarter hour did a 2.8, and the overrun segment did a 3.2. So, I mean, 3.2 is probably the average right now, but for me, that means, 3.6 starting off the show, that means there was a lot of curiosity and a lot of fan interest, watching Raw and interested in the walkout and what would happen in coming out of that walkout. Obviously, it really rang a bell. People were interested. More people than usual tuned in for that. And obviously, when they didn't like what they saw, or they got the answer that they were looking for, people were tuned off, and that's concerning to me. Anytime traditionally in wrestling, it builds, especially when you're building towards a main event, and going from a 3.6 to a 2.8 is really bad. So, you know, I would be very alarmed and pushing the panic buttons right now, especially going into their next pay-per-view with so little time to promote it. So, anyways, that happened, and I wasn't too happy with this week's Raw either.
Did you actually watch it?
I did watch it. It was one of the poorest editions of Monday Night Raw I've ever seen.
What was the main event?
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure. It was. I think it was Del Rio versus CM Punk. It's turned into R-Truth and Miz coming back, which I thought was a horrible way to reintroduce the characters. I quite frankly thought they were going to do something with Kev, with Nash, but that's not the way they're taking it. So just really, really odd the way they're doing it. You know, because obviously I think they had fans for a minute with the walkout, and fans just didn't seem to really care about where they seemed to be going with that all. But another thing that I want to promote and put out there for you guys, something that I've been involved in for quite some time, and it's going to come out. I'm part of they're doing a piece, ESPN is doing a piece on Scott Hall on their documentary program, E60. And the piece on Scott airs Wednesday, October 19th at 8 p.m. And as a matter of fact, I just got off the phone. He called right before we went to airtime. John from ESPN, the producer of the piece, and apparently I'm all over it. We shot 3 hours of footage at my home, and I'm very curious. I saw the promo, and the promo was very compelling. Bischoff spoke on there, and I was very candid, very honest, and I'd spoken to Scott, and I was a little concerned about where they were going with it, but Scott simply just told me, tell him the truth, don't hold back, tell the truth, and that's what I did, and I'm curious to see how it's received and where it goes, unfortunately, and it's very compelling, but unfortunately, I think it's going to be very sad, the just very somber tone of it all. But anyways, I hope you guys all watch it. Like I said, it's going to be on Wednesday, October 19th, ESPN, 8 o'clock, E60. Please check it out. It's going to be must-see TV for any wrestling fan, especially if you're a wrestling fan of the Attitude Era, Scott Hall, and stuff like that. So anyways, what else did I want to talk to you guys about? Oh, we had a spotlight match of the week. I wanted to talk to you guys about one of my personal favorite matches. And we're going to be doing this from time to time. I'm not sure about every broadcast, but I personally wanted to talk about, especially classic ECW matches and have fans, I put it up on the website, on my Facebook page, and, have fans watch it. And a lot of them, believe it or not, recall these matches. It's funny, I've had so many matches for so many other companies, but fans in particular, they can't tell you what was the main event of the past, the last WWE or 2 WWE pay-per-views ago, but they'll remember a match like me and Sabu at Anarchy Rules from almost 12 years ago.
There's obvious reasons why.
It was just, yeah, but it's amazing that fans remember so many specifics about that time period, and it was just so special. That fans to this day will still talk to me about stuff like that, almost in legendary terms, and it really shocks me in a nice way, makes me really happy and flattering and humbling. So anyways, I wanted to take some questions and talk to you guys about it. If you guys have anything to say on Anarchy Rules. Personally, one of the best reviewed matches I ever had, Dave Meltzer from Wrestling Observer, who is somebody that's highly respected in our industry. Said it was the match of the night, 4 stars, very well critical acclaim, and it's funny because all the wrestlers, we always say we don't listen to the dirt sheets, we don't care about how many stars we get, only when it's bad, but when it's good, we're the first ones to pull them out and say, hey, look, I got 4 stars for this match. So, I just remember, we did close to 20 minutes, and I actually, I went over in that match, which was a big deal because Sabu's, legendary guy, and it was really, really cool. And it is one of the matches that I continuously get asked about. So I'd like to take some questions on if you guys had seen it, and do we have anything on Anarchy Rules?
Joni loves khaki.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
I'd like to know, you took some sick bumps during the match.
Yeah.
How did you feel after it?
Believe it or not, I didn't feel too bad. There's one spot in particular in that match. If you guys watching the program tonight, if you guys had seen the match recently, where he set up the table on the guardrail, and he put me on it, but facing downward, belly on the table, facing downward, and he did the chair top rope leg drop. But your back doesn't bend. You know, if I'm on my belly, your back doesn't bend that way. So, and the table didn't break. So he landed full throttle on me, and the table didn't break. I thought he cracked. I thought he broke me in half, like for real. I mean, I know Jim Ross says it all the time, but I lost complete. You know, I lost my breath. I couldn't breathe. I almost blacked out. I was hurt. I was hurt, and you know, I thought something happened, but believe it or not, and then actually, you know what? He rolls over to me, Sabu does, and he's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "No, can't breathe." All right, I'm doing it again. And son of a bitch gets in the ring, chair top rope, and he does it again, and finally the table breaks, and I almost break. But I didn't feel too bad after the match. I didn't feel too bad after the match, and it's funny because Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins was there. That was the first time I met him. First time he came to a live ECW event, and I was a big fan of their music. So you know, he's there backstage. He was a real cool dude. You know, this was before I got to know him, and you know, I'm still, you know, I'm in my towel and my wrestling gear, and just blood coming out of everywhere. And I'm like, you know, hey man, you know, nice to meet you. And he's like, okay, crazy man, nice to meet you too. So somebody bandaged me up real quick so I can get my shot of me and Billy, and I still carry it in my briefcase to this day. I think it's hilarious. So, anyways, any more on Anarchy Rules?
Yeah, when you were first found out about that table spot, what went through your head?
I really didn't think anything of it. You know, it didn't seem like that big of a deal. Oh, I guess it wasn't registering. You know, because we had so many other sick things in the match. You know, so many other high risk spots. I really wasn't giving it much consideration, to be honest with you. And just afterwards, you know, looking back, it's like, what was he thinking? What was I thinking? You know, we really weren't at the time. You know, so.
It's looking like that Taz left ECW.
I'm not sure. I know Taz was on the pay-per-view. I think it was starting to head that way, if he hadn't already. I know the wheels were already in motion, if I'm not mistaken, on that one.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
The whole show is amazing.
Yeah, great show.
It's still one of his favorite openers. It's from Engimatics.
Yeah.
Were you actually blind from the Crimson Mask and all?
I had a hard time seeing because I did. I was, you know, the cut happened way on the side of my eye, and it was bleeding pretty good, and it really was impairing my vision. That was the biggest problem, you know, was I was having a real hard time seeing. So yeah, it actually kind of did. You know, it sounds corny a little bit, but no, I was having a real hard time with it.
There were 6,000 people.
Yeah, at the Odeon.
Anarchy.
Yeah.
Why did Paul not run more shows out of Chicago?
I don't know. I think in looking at the bigger picture, I think there were plans to and we did go back to the Odeum and stuff. I think it was just having the right building and not burning out Chicago, because Chicago, I think, is probably one of the top 3 markets for professional wrestling in the entire world. I think it's right up there with New York City. People always say Philly. Philly has a great hardcore group of fans, but I think Chicago, as far as pure volume and you know, willing to shell out money for wrestling, I think Chicago falls an easy second on the list of pro wrestling. And there might be times where Chicago might be the #1 place for wrestling as far as just turnout. You know, because you go to the Rosemont Horizon where, you know, Vince goes, and we've gone a million times, or even back in the day with the United Center, which I hate compared to the Rosemont Horizon, but the turnout is always amazing for live events, for Raw tapings, for pay-per-views. It's just unmatched. You know, so Chicago's always been a wicked strong market for pro wrestling traditionally.
You're also getting a couple props for the spot with Jason Kane, Sabu, while Sabu had you in the tombstone.
Oh yeah.
Question from that show: did Bob Ortiz have a decent lump from his first Kane shot?
Bob Ortiz was a trooper. He yeah, I took care of him on that shot. I skimmed him if you go back and watch it on tape, but he was game, man. He was always a wonderful human being. Him and his wife were you know, his wife especially was very supportive of him and of ECW.